Remember, we're trying to cultivate layers of thinking. So when you hear Black jobs, I don't need you just to think about literally what are the jobs Black people hold. I want you to see all the layers of racial capitalism involved in that one statement. One thing that does is it demonstrates to you how efficiently we use our racial shorthand in this country. Like, that's how deeply ingrained and embedded white supremacy and anti-Blackness are in the American design, social order, political order, legal order, economic order. You see our utilization of our racial shorthand as efficiently as it is when you understand the layers involved in the term Black jobs, the layers of racial capitalism involved in the term Black jobs. So when they say Black jobs, the first thing that they do is that they paint the labor of Hispanics as theft, a theft of labor by Hispanic. Because when they say Black jobs, immigrants are taking your Black jobs. When they say immigrants are taking your Black jobs, they're not talking about the people from Ukraine, right? They're not talking about Ukrainian. Even immigrants in this discussion are racialized. They're talking about Hispanic and Latin immigrants specifically. So when they say immigrants are taking your jobs, it is an intent to paint immigrant labor as theft, right? That's the first thing they do. And this is such a clever rhetorical maneuver, because clever in the worst way, obviously, because it misdirects attention. The theft of labor isn't from the Hispanic and Latin immigrants. That's not who's stealing labor. It's actually the corporations that are employing them. It's the corporations that are exploiting their labor. It's actually their labor who's being stolen. But our racial shorthand is so efficient. We use it so efficiently that when someone says immigrants are stealing Black jobs, it immediately casts this person who is so desperate and destitute for work and equality of life. Sometimes they are walking hundreds of miles to get here to work these menial jobs that most Americans wouldn't even work. And they're immediately cast for trying to seek labor to contribute to the economy because immigrants pay taxes. For trying to contribute labor, they're immediately cast as a theft, as a thief doing theft, to misdirect your attention from the actual corporations. Accuse your enemy of that which you do, right? That's the first thing that they do successfully. The second thing that they do successfully is that they reinforce the anti-Blackness hierarchy in this country by directing your attention to what's implicit, what's so true in the mind of the author and hopefully in the audience he's trying to reach, that you don't even have to question it or say it explicitly, that Black people belong doing the menial, exploitative labor that these immigrants are stealing. Right? That's what it is. When he say they coming in and stealing Black jobs, he not talking about becoming lawyers. He not talking about becoming vice presidents. He not talking about becoming superintendents of schools or nurses. Those aren't the jobs he's talking about. No, he's talking about those sectors of labor that Black people have historically been confined to. Agricultural labor, domestic labor, the most dangerous jobs, the least protected jobs. So when they say immigrants are stealing labor, they're reinforcing Black jobs. When they say immigrants are stealing Black jobs, they're reinforcing America's own, independent of the involvement of the immigrant, America's own racial caste system by saying, well, that menial labor belongs to you, Black people. You know that's your place. We know that's your place. That's why I don't even have to say it. That's why I didn't say any other racial demographic. I could have just said they're stealing jobs, but I wanted to point out not just any jobs, but menial exploitative labor that we allow Black people to occupy. That's why they're here, because they provide us their labor. So we just want to know the only reason we've ever valued you is now endangered by these others that you need to be scared of, right? So not only does it paint the immigrant as a thief and a criminal, it also reinforces America's racial caste system by reminding Black people that we belong in the bottom rung where these immigrants are now taking labor from. That bottom rung is for labor, right? It also, the third thing it does, in addition to reminding immigrants, Hispanic and Latin immigrants specifically, and Black people to stay in their place, it pits the two groups against each other. Right? It manufactures scarcity. There are only so many of those jobs. There's only so much cleaning our house and picking our food you can do, friend. We just don't have that much for you to do anymore. We're AIing our way out of that. So there's only so many scraps for y'all to fight over. They're taking them. It pits the two groups against each other by manufacturing scraps, by manufacturing scarcity. There's actually not a deficiency of jobs, right? We actually could pay people to do meaningful work if we actually wanted a society where there was widespread democracy, because people had enough free time and educational advancement to understand how complicated our political apparatuses has come, and they would actually vote for their interests and in the interests of their neighbors and communities instead of voting for corporate interests because they're sold an illusion through our entertainment and advertisement and so forth and so on. You feel me? So they pit the two groups against each other. And then the fourth thing that they do is they actually not only do they attack these people, but it mitigates whatever praise, ideological value, social value, psychological value these groups could get from contributing their labor to our economy and building up infrastructure in the economy, right? So, for example, you heard Donald Trump and J.D. Vance get up there and talk about Haitian immigrants are eating pets in Ohio. Ohio is my hometown, my home state. Not too far from where this took place. My nephew actually was attacked by white supremacists a week after schools not far from my house had to close because they had gotten bomb threats. Those Haitian immigrants were actually brought there for labor. They were brought there because of a labor shortage. And both the Republican governor and the Republican mayor of the town have described their contributions as adding an economic boon to the area. Like, they have been absolutely crucial to the economy of that town, making it. But instead of being heralded as heroes or being given any social standing or social capital for that contribution to a small Midwestern American town with working class folks who gratefully to their immigrant neighbors were able to recover economically, and all those people are being, woven into the community, it should be an American fairy tale. It should be an American dream. You're brought in to help a struggling business with some labor shortages. Doing so helps the town. The town gets along regardless of differences and so forth. It should be the kind of shit America is made of. Look at these people coming here. Bring us your poor, huddled masses. Look at these people coming here and saving the Midwestern town. That's what the story should be. But God forbid you give capital, social capital, to these immigrant Haitians, these black foreigners. God forbid. So not only will we make sure they don't get the credit for doing the work that they've done, we will malign them. We will malign them. We will deride people in this country who look like them, regardless of where they're from. We will malign immigrants across the board, deride immigrants across the board. Like, that's the depravity. That's the depth of the depravity of these the people that have been in power, that have orchestrated this entire apparatus. Like, that's what I mean. You see what I'm saying? And then the fifth thing it is, besides deny these people the capital they deserve, the social, psychological, ideological capital that they deserve, it never mentions whiteness at all. White supremacy, white businesses, white business owners, the economic elite are never mentioned. They are completely absent from the frame. So they are the people who are actually most behind it. The people saying it, the people in power to support that narrative. With rare exceptions, shout out to the mayor, the governor, Mike DeWine. Even though I don't F with politicians, and even though you and I disagree ideologically on probably everything else in the world, there have been a couple times where I've seen you consistently show humanity in the face of great pushback from your party. That's admirable. That someone still has a modicum of conscience and integrity around this mofo. But yeah, never mentioned. They never mentioned Layers. We cultivate layers here.